Hello and welcome to this video. For those of you who do not know me, I am Sanchit Arora. I just finished my BTech Computer Science degree from IIIT Hyderabad. I did my summer internship at Uber and I will be joining Uber soon as a software engineer. If you are new to the channel, do subscribe to the button, and if you want to know more about me, you can follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and all the links are in the description below. So my internship journey was pretty much like a roller coaster. Initially, I was confident that I will get a PPO. In the middle, I got worried that will I get a PPO or not. And near the end, again, I was super confident that yes, I will get a PPO. And I also used to talk to my other friends who were interning at different companies. And now basically I've compressed all those thoughts to give you 10 different tips which will help you get your PPO or pre-placement offer irrespective of which company you are working in. So it can be a big MNC or a smaller startup. These tips are applicable to all companies more or less, and these tips basically increase the possibility of your PPO. It does not mean that you have to follow all of them, and there can be people who follow none of them and they still get a PPO. It's just that these tips, if you follow them, this will increase your chances. And stay tuned till the end, because in the end I will also discuss one thing which is, I guess, a rumor and highly overrated thing which actually does not really matter in your PPO. So let's get started. So the first point is start early. Now I know you have worked really hard to crack this internship and really congratulations for that. But you should remember that cracking the internship is one thing and doing the internship and getting a PPO is another thing. And under normal circumstances, you most probably have more than 6 months between your internship selection and your actual date of joining. So relax a lot, but also don't waste your whole duration, which is like more than 6 months, which is a lot of time. Okay. So what happens is no company really have an expectation of what development you should already know. But if you already know something, it will be much better for you because internship in general is shorter. I mean, maximum you have like 6 month internships. You have to prove in those 6 months or 2 months or 3 months or whatever that you are good enough to work. So it's better if you have some development experience, which will help you a lot during your internship. If you know what tech stack your company works in, then maybe study a little bit about that, build some basic projects in that so that you get some experience. If you do not know what tech stack your company uses, maybe approach some senior on LinkedIn, maybe ask someone. No one will like directly say no, don't reply. Message a few people and definitely you will get an answer about what tech stack, what languages your company uses, and have some experience in that. Maybe small project only, but just get your hands dirty. And even after all this, if you still have no idea about what your tech stack will be, what your programming language will be, and so on, then also just do any type of development which you can. If you have watched my previous video in which I talked about how to prepare for cracking the internship, there also I said that development is very important. So irrespective of your tech stack, some things will literally transfer your learn. So you will get to know how to read big code bases. You will know how to use GitHub. You will know how to use Git. You will know how to structure your program properly into different files, different directory structure. You will know the good coding practices and so on. So make sure you do some type of development before joining your internship. It will help you a lot. Even if you don't do it, yes, the company will teach it because it has to. But if you have some experience, it will definitely help you a lot. Second point is balance your part time. Now that COVID is over, almost all the companies will have their internships offline, and believe me, you are gonna love that. You will love the office, the food, you can play games. If you have corporate parties, they are amazing. Now that you are earning money and have some freedom, you can go out with your friends, maybe have a 1-2 day trip on weekends and so on. And yes, internships are there to enjoy a lot because that's your first introduction to corporate culture. So yes, enjoy, relax a lot, but remember to keep a balance. So if your internship is, let's say, of 6 months, then you can afford to waste 1 or 2 weeks initially in the starting to just really enjoy and literally do almost zero work, and that will be okay because you will still have a lot of time to recover and still manage to do a good amount of work. But if your internship is shorter, so let's say my internship was only 7 weeks. If my internship is 7 weeks, I cannot afford to waste 2 weeks. If I waste 2 weeks, I will have a very hard time balancing that in the rest 5 weeks. So enjoy a lot, but still remember to keep a balance and remember how high your stakes are. So again, if your internship is shorter, your stakes are much higher and you have much short time to prove what you are. So enjoy, but keep a balance. Third is don't do only what's said. Now, I don't know if it sounded right, but I don't mean that don't do what is being told to you. Definitely do what is being told to you, but also do some other thing to surprise your manager, mentor, buddy, or whatever. Now, I know it's officially their duty to help you, to guide you in your project, but they also have their own work to do, okay? So, don't just completely blindly trust them and be like a dumb computer that whatever order they give, you just do that. Give some new ideas, give some fresh perspective, show your enthusiasm, and show that you understand what you are trying to build. You just don't blindly take orders and implement whatever they told you. Okay, so do something and surprise and show that you are interested. So the fourth thing is do it yourself attitude. Now this is very similar to the last point I discussed, that do some things outside of what is expected of you directly. And what I mean by do it yourself attitude is don't expect your mentor or manager to micromanage you. And what micromanage means is they're explicitly telling you directly what exact things to do. So they won't tell you exactly what code to write, what thing to do. I mean, the level of abstraction will depend on what is your size of company. So if you're working in a big company, they will kind of define the scope more. If you're working in a smaller company, the scope will be a little vague and so on. So it's your duty to understand what is the product you are trying to build, what is your project, and what are the different ways to achieve this. So if you have done only DSA or computer programming so far, your mind is trained to think that yes, this is one solution and this is the most correct solution, and other solutions are wrong. But in real world, in majority of the cases, there is no one wrong solution and there is no one right solution. There are multiple solutions, all of them are correct, and each one of them has their pros and cons. And it's up to you to decide which thing matter more so that you can choose the solution accordingly. So understand what the problem you are trying to fix, what are different approaches, uh, understand what are their pros and cons, and if you can on your own level understand that this thing matters more, then choose that approach, go ahead with that. Otherwise, give this overview that yes, I understand this thing, these are the ways to do it, these are the advantages, disadvantages of each way, and what should I do, and take this whole thing to your mentor and manager and then discuss with them. Okay, don't expect them to spoon feed you. And now, if you get some issues with your code, don't just directly go to your mentor asking that this is not working, how to fix that. It's not their job. Okay, try to understand they are testing you whether you are able to do things on your own or not. If you are going for every little thing to your manager or mentor, then I mean they can just do it themselves, right? They are wasting their time on you essentially. So if you get some problem with your code, first of all, try to Google search. Maybe you will find the answer on Stack Overflow. If you have some internal documentation or internal searching, then search there. Maybe you have some dedicated Slack channels for them, search there. If you are facing some issue with some product, then approach the POC of that product and things like that. Try to solve problems on your own. Search a lot, and if after all this you do not get a solution, then again, when you go to a mentor manager, you should let them know that you tried all these things. This is why they didn't work. This is the problems you are facing. Now what you can do, and now they can help you better. So don't expect them to micromanage you. Don't expect them to spoon feed you. Try to do things on your own. So do it yourself attitude. Fifth is test everything. Now you have written some code. Now you won't just go and open a pull request. It's not the duty of your code reviewer to find the test cases where the code is failing. Ideally, the code review should be more or less only about whether your coding standards are okay and high level things basically. It's your duty to test your code properly and make sure it works on all the edge cases. Now, I mean, it's okay if there is some very corner case which is out of your scope because you do not understand the whole big company and whole the big product. But try to test as much as possible and open the pull request and ask for code review only when you're sure that your code works. It shouldn't happen that they are reviewing your code and they find that this statement will break on this case and so on and things like that. Okay, so it will take time to find all the cases, but give it time. That's what is required. Coding is not really the difficult part. Okay, and most of your engineering time is not spent in coding, it's spent in other things. So find out the test cases, make sure your code works on them, and after testing yourself, then only open the pull request, then only ask for code review. Now, before continuing, if you are still watching, that means you are serious about your internship and getting a PPO and you are liking this video. So do press the like button, it will motivate me a lot. So the next tip is basically ask it out to anyone. Officially, you will be allocated a mentor or a buddy or something like that to answer your doubts, but it is very well possible that they also don't have the whole idea of things that are going on, and they also might not be able to help you directly with whatever doubt you have. So again, reflecting on to the do it yourself attitude, figure out what your problem is. First of all, again, do your own research by Google search, Stack Overflow, internal documentation, whatever. If you're not able to find those, then understand which person changed that code last time. So if you are using the tools like VS Code or something like that, they have the extensions which will tell you that this line was last changed by this person. So go to that person and try to ask that, okay, what is this thing doing? What is the idea? Again, don't ask them each line of code that what is this line doing. Okay, so try to make some sense out of things yourself and get a broader idea by someone else. So if you're using some other product to build your own product, so since the companies are big, many a times your project will be dependent on more than one thing. So you might need to approach the POC of another product to understand what are they doing, and even your mentor won't know that. If maybe let's say your project is full stack and your mentor is backend, then you might have to approach some full stack person to understand some things. So understand that your mentor also has limitations, and it does not make sense to approach him or her for all the doubts you have. Understand what is their scope of work and what is what you want, and approach the relevant person. So basically, don't hesitate to ask your doubts to anyone. Yes, officially you have a mentor buddy, but literally ask doubts to anyone in your company. By anyone, I mean literally anyone. It might be someone sitting in US or something. If you have some doubt which is relevant to that person, if you have researched yourself and cannot find the solution, then do reach out to them. Do not hesitate. Next is very important, which is ask for feedback. Now, when your internship will start, your HR might tell you that your mentor or manager will give you weekly or monthly review and so on. But again, be it your internship or your actual job, it's not the duty of your manager to give you feedback. Okay, it's your duty to ask for feedback. It's your duty to act on that. So I mean, again, depending on how long your internship, you can ask for feedback weekly, bi-weekly or monthly. Explicitly ask for feedback. If you're working more closely with your mentor, ask for feedback from your mentor. It does not make sense to ask manager if you're not directly working with your manager. So make sure to ask for feedback and try to make it as easy as possible for them to help you get your feedback. So what I mean is, don't just say give me my feedback. If possible, again, let's say you are in a meeting with some other senior person and you are supposed to ask some questions, clarify your project, define the scope of work, and in that meeting you and your mentor are there. So after that meeting, maybe ask your mentor, okay, how did I perform, did I ask the questions properly, and things like that. Basically try to scope down things so that it becomes easier for someone to give you feedback. If you only ask a vague question that give me my feedback, it is more load on their brain to understand everything they are doing. So if you are writing code, then ask for feedback on your code. Initially it might not follow good practices, but that's the point of feedback, right? You take feedback and you have to show some improvement on that. It does not happen that every week or every month they are giving you same feedback and you are just not improving on that. Okay, so it's your duty to ask for feedback. If possible, ask for specific feedback. If it's not possible, it's okay, but definitely ask for feedback, because sometimes even it's some awkward for them maybe to give you feedback, because I mean essentially we are humans and we do not want to hurt anyone. So if let's say I'm the mentor, and if you're working under me as an intern, if there is nothing going very wrong, I might not directly tell you that you are doing this slightly wrong. If you explicitly ask me that what am I doing wrong, then yes, I will definitely tell you. Okay, so understand that everyone is a human, no one is a machine that they will tell you everything without any hesitation. So make sure to ask for feedback. Make sure to explicitly say that I want my negative feedback to improve on those things. Okay, that's how you will show them that you are willing to learn and you actually improve on those things. which were given in your feedback. And hopefully by the end of your internship, your direct manager, which can be your mentor or manager, will be happy with you because whatever feedback they gave, you incorporated that, you learned from that, and in the end, you will definitely get a PPO, believe me. Now the next thing is help others. Internship is not really a competition that out of those 100 interns, you have to be in top 10 to get converted to full time or so on. Understand the company's motive. If the company is hiring 100 interns, they want all the 100 interns to get converted to full time because they are essentially treating the internship as an investment to see if those interns are good enough to get converted to full time employees or not. So you are competing with yourself only. You have to show that you are good. You don't have to show that you are better than other 90 people. Okay. So if you are helping others, it does not decrease your chances of PPO. In fact, it actually increases your chances of PPO. And let me tell you why. There are two reasons basically. First is if you are explaining something to someone else, you understand that topic a lot better. So let's say if you are new to React, if I just study React, then that's one thing. But if I have to explain React to someone else, then I will understand React myself a lot better. So that is first advantage. Second is if you are helping someone a lot, you can also talk about it in your final presentation. I am not like speak for 1 2 minutes that yes I have that. Just mention it because essentially, if you understand how the corporate world is structured, you are not get you don't get promoted after. I mean, you might get the first promotion on yourself, but after that, all the promotions are basically based on your impact, how much impact you are creating. And everyone has 24 hours, everyone has like 40 hours per week work, and so on. So if you want to create more impact on seniors level, you have to actually help others to create that impact. So you do not essentially code everything, you help others to code, and you tell them that yes, this is my impact. So understand this corporate structure and incorporate it in your own internship. So if you are helping others, then that shows that you are capable of like taking your whole team or your whole company ahead instead of just focusing you. It is basically like a team player thing. So it's good if you're helping. And actually there is a third reason also. So if let's say the other intern is asking some more senior member, and your intern, so pretty much everyone is more senior than you, so their time is more valuable than your time, and they are hiring you to make their job easier. So if let's say other intern has a doubt in front end, and if you can help them yourself with that front end doubt instead of them going to some senior software engineer or so on, then you are making a big difference. And if that is your mentor, then that is a great thing because you are saving a lot of headache for your mentor if you are kind of helping everyone yourself. So if you can help with any topic and your mentor sees that you are saving him a lot of time, so they are working on their own projects, and if you are helping your mentor to help other interns, then that is a super plus point for you because again their time is much more valuable, and if you are able to help your mentor, then what's better than this? Now, the second last point, it might not be very much relevant to all of you, which it is basically solving some other unrelated issues. So, what I mean by this is you are given a project, you have some task in that project, but if your project is going with okay or even more than expected speed, and if you see some small improvement in the already existing code base which is not a part of your project, so it is not expected by you to do that, but if you see some small thing which you can improve, then definitely improve that because it will show you that again you do not care only about you, you care about in general betterment of your team, of the company, and so on. But make sure two things. First of all, your own project must be on speed. It should not happen that you are not able to complete your own project and you are looking for random issues to fix. It should not happen. Second is that thing must be small enough, first of all, for you to fix. I mean, it might be obvious for you to fix. And second part, the thing should be small enough so that you do not need any approval for that. Okay, so you just do the code, someone will review that code and it will get merged, something like that. It shouldn't like you need approval of different people to get it merged and so on. So for example, in my case, what happened was somewhere in some part of the code they were doing map in React. So if you know React, you know that if we want to render, let's say, a list of something, we want to use map, and in map it is required to supply a key, and that was a very basic thing. I do not remember exactly. So the key was obvious, but it was not added there. So it was just giving a warning. There was no error, nothing. It was just a simple warning, and it was obvious for me to how to fix that. So I just myself created an issue. I wrote the code to fix that, and I published it. And in the final presentation, again, I mentioned that I solved this unrelated task, which will help the whole company build a more robust code base and things like that, basically. So if your project is going with a good pace, if you find a very small issue, then fix it. Don't wait for anyone else to tell you to fix that. Cool. Now the last, where I also struggled a little bit and I also got my feedback in this regard only, and it is take notes and communicate effectively. So it's basically a two-part. First is take notes of everything, document everything. So basically, if your project involves different approaches, which I initially mentioned that you will have different approaches, you will have different pros and cons of each approach, then document everything. Then basically it should not happen that you leave the company and other people do have no idea what you did, why you did that, how you do that, anything. Basically you should have documented everything you have done, why you have done, how you have done, and things like that. Secondly, document your own progress, because near the end you will have to make a presentation in which you will have to show what you did. So it will help you a lot if you have documented what you have done. So again, if your internship is of smaller duration, like 2 3 months, then ideally you should document every week at least, that this week you did this week you did that. If your internship is 6 months, then you can still afford like monthly documentation. Weekly is best, but maybe every week you do not have much progress, so monthly is also okay if it's your 6 month internship. But documenting your own progress is also important, not just in internship, when you are doing actual job also. Whenever there is appraisal cycle and basically review every year, you have to tell what you have done in the whole year. So it's much easier to remind yourself what you have done if you have documented it. So take notes, and also if you join some meeting, you discuss something related to your project in that meeting, then that meeting also should be documented. And ideally, you should, after the meeting, to all the stakeholders, to all the participants in that meeting, send a minute of meeting, so that all of you are on the same page regarding what was discussed and there is no misunderstanding, which comes to the next section of this point, which is communicate properly. Now, you might think that you are over communicating, but it's much better to over communicate than to under communicate. So if you are doubtful, should I tell this, should I convey this thing or not, then do this. Okay, okay, it's much worse to have two people on different pages, especially if your internship is of 2 3 months. If you understand something differently and you go on doing implementing that differently, then it will be a disaster for you. So whenever in doubt, over communicate, but never ever under communicate. Take notes, document everything, communicate properly, and after every meeting, send a minute of meetings to every participant, so that everyone is on the same page and you basically have a proof that yes, we discussed all this. This was the result. These were the action items on my behalf. These were the action items for some other person, maybe, and things like that. Now, before talking about the bonus point, I wanted to say this one thing. It sounds ironic, but the best way to get a PPO is actually not to think about it at all. Just focus on your project, on your product, and understand the ownership of the product is on you. You are the owner of the whole product. You are not there just to impress your manager or mentor and get some PPO. Okay, the PPO is secondary. The first primary thing is to do understand that whatever you are working on, whatever product you are building, whatever project you are delivering, that will be your footprint. Even after you leave, everyone in the company, your co-workers, your seniors, your juniors that will join the company later, everyone can see the work you have done. So how good do you want it to be? Okay, so I mean, that product is your identity in that company. So understand that, take the ownership of the work you are doing, and don't try to impress anyone. They All those things will automatically happen if you just understand this one thing, that you own the product. It's your duty to make it the best possible. It's no one else's duty to tell you what to do. It's your duty. If you think like that, everything else will just turn out good, and you will 99.99% get the PPO. Okay, so PPO, impressing your mentor manager, all these are secondary things. Focus on the ownership part, and everything will be good. Okay, now from the 10 tips we discussed, do let me know in the comment section which you found most helpful, which one is the most underrated, and whatever you think about those 10 tips. So the bonus thing, which I guess is a rumor or the most overrated thing, is the number of commits or the number of lines of code. Believe me, even when I joined as an internet over, I don't know who told me, but someone told me that you have to push this many commits in order to get a PQ and so on. And I was nowhere near that, because my project was kind of starting, so it was more about scoping down things and building POCs. So I was literally pushing zero commits for the first, I guess, 4 or 5 weeks out of 7 weeks, and the last 2 weeks I was like super fast during for the commits. So number of commits, number of lines of code is a very wrong measure of the quality of the work you are doing, the amount of the work you are doing. So don't consider this as a measure of how good your work is. If you are getting a good feedback from your mentor, your manager, again, if you are doing good work, everything will automatically take good, irrespective of how many commits you are pushing on the production. Okay, so I guess that's all for this video. Again, do let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Share this video with your friends who will be interning this summer or very soon. And if you want me to make any other video on any other topic, do let me know in the comments, and I will try my best to make the video on that topic. And till then, bye bye and congratulations for internship, and best of luck for the PPO. Goodbye.